Okay. Hello, everybody. Uh, I just tried to I just tried to make this video, and I uh, I tried to like swap. I tried to close this window and swap to a different window to see my notes, and it ended the video. So I'm restarting. So hello, everybody. It's uh, it's been a while since that first video. My hair's shorter, and and I'm a little wiser. But I've just been thinking a lot and reading a lot, and that the message of the first video was share yourself, and um, so I was thinking, I think it's time for video number two. Um, and It's time for video number two. And we don't always know what we have to offer. Maybe we want to share. We want to give, but we don't always know what we have to offer. And that's something that I'm struggling with right now. I don't really know what. Well, I kind of do, but it takes practice to believe in yourself. Like sharing is a practice. Sharing is a practice. What does sharing even look like? What does sharing look like? Sharing looks like, really, when you think about it, what does it feel like when I'm sharing? Visualize it. What does that look like when I'm sharing? When I'm sharing, it's really being myself and being vulnerable. How can you share if you're not being vulnerable, or if you're not being honest? Um, so I just thought, I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been doing a lot of thinking. Um, I'm I got a lot of time on my hands right now, you know, um, and I thought I would just talk a little bit about meditation, because I think um, I've been doing a lot of studying, and I think there's kind of this idea of like what meditation is. And the way I kind of understand it is there's like levels of meditation, you know? Like the yogis, for example. Um, these guys are meditating at a level where, like the samadhi, isn't that what it's called? Samadhi state. Um, this is a state of being, right? Where you're constantly in meditation. Like all you have to do is close your eyes and you are in the deepest level of meditation, you know? I don't even, I think a lot of us, um, don't really know what it feels like to meditate like that, like that, um, or to drop in, right? I don't know if you've heard this term, like dropping in, like dropping into a meditation, like, oh, I dropped in right away, or whatever. That is, even that level of meditation, I've only experienced, I mean, probably, a handful of times in my life, like less than like 5 times in my whole life, and like I meditate quite often, so that's a level of depth, when you drop in, right? When you kind of go into this trance state, and time disappears, and time disappears, and you're just kind of content and at peace, and you're you're just kind of there. You're just kind of being. When you drop in, you just kind of exist, and it's just very comfortable and peaceful, and you don't want anything. Nothing else really exists. It's just that moment. Like that's what dropping in is like. And I think a lot of us, maybe we've tried meditation. Maybe we don't really understand what it is, or we don't really understand how to do it. There's a lot of different methods. There's a lot of different types of meditation. I think meditation is an umbrella term. I think meditation is kind of how would you even, the way I would define it is giving myself space to be present and focusing my awareness, or being aware, just being aware, not even focusing my awareness, just being aware, So like I was saying, like there's like levels, and like kind of like sometimes I meditate with my eyes open, and I'm just kind of staring off, I'm just kind of I'm not really doing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. Get out of here, man. I'm doing nothing, Nothing. I'm just sitting, staring, thinking. That's it, Sometimes I do it with my eyes closed. And the closing of the eyes helps with visualization. So I think, they have their different perks, right? Like when I'm staring, when I'm doing like a staring meditation, I'm not like staring. I'm not staring at something. I'm not like focused on something. I'm like zoning out. I'm like zoning out. That's what I'm doing, right? So when I let myself zone out, I think that gives space for natural thoughts to arise. So what I'm doing, I'm zoning out. Maybe I'm just looking at the trees or something. I'm just staring out the window. Like right now, I'm just staring out the window. And what happens is where I'm focusing my attention, I'm not focusing on the trees. I'm focusing my attention on my thoughts. Maybe I'm having a conversation in my head. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe there's no direction. Maybe it's just thoughts are coming up and I'm just kind of seeing what they do. So I think this method helps a lot with when I'm in pain, when I'm hurting, when there's something bothering me. I do this and I let these negative thoughts come up and I kind of observe them, and I'm just kind of aware of them. It just helps bring awareness to your thoughts. But then when you close your eyes, it's a whole different story. I think when you close your eyes, this gives you the added tool of visualization. So visualization is a tool of, well, many things. I use it for focus. So, if there's a specific intention for the meditation, maybe what I'm trying to do is conjure feelings of gratitude. Maybe that's what I'm trying to do, So I close my eyes and I go through the things that I'm grateful for in the day and I can visualize them. I can see them, So the closing of the eyes gives you the added benefit of visualization. But sometimes I don't want to visualize, sometimes I do. It also depends on the depth of meditation that you want to experience. Like, for example, EMDR. I don't know if you've heard of this. I don't know why I'm talking to you like you're one person. Like, so many of you are going to know what EMDR is and so many of you aren't. So I don't know why I'm... But EMDR, it's a type of therapy. And basically, and I mean, it's pretty... The procedure is... You can do it alone. But the little EMDR buzzers and, whatever are helpful. But a lot of the procedure is, a universal procedure to process trauma, and but anyways, the procedure is, you go back, you isolate an event in your life that trauma that traumatized you, and with EMDR the experience is guided, which is helpful. You pick an event that traumatized you, you close your eyes, you go back, you kind of relive that event like it's a movie, you kind of watch it, step by step, all the little pieces, and then you isolate whatever moment caused you the most amount of emotion, kind of The crescendo moment is what it's called in OEFT. They call it the crescendo moment. It's like the peak. Like in every story, there's like a climax. So it's like the climax of that traumatic event. You isolate that, you pick that, and you really relive it, and you feel it. You let yourself feel it. You visualize it. You're there, and the feelings come up. And you kind of just keep reliving this movie over and over and over again, and you just let the emotions come up, right? Because what is trauma? Trauma is like unprocessed negative emotion. Unprocessed negative emotion, So what you're doing is you're processing it. You're feeling it. It was like, in the moment, it was like so much emotion. Anyways, you feel it, you feel through it, you kind of relive this movie a couple times, and then, by the end of it, it's kind of less. It hurts less. It hurts less because you felt it. You've let the emotions sort of run through you. Maybe it'll come up again. Maybe you have to do this a couple times, but, it won't hurt as much by the end of it. So you can do this same procedure without a therapist. Without a therapist. You can meditate. Close your eyes, visualize, right? So this is what I'm talking about with, like, it depends on your intention. What is your intention for the meditation? Do I want to focus on something like that? Am I trying to heal my trauma? Right? That's a very specific intention. So you can close your eyes for that. You can use visualization for that. Am I trying to do I maybe feel kind of messy? Do I feel a little confused? Am I trying to kind of bring awareness to my thoughts and kind of slow down and process, like, where this confusion is coming from, where this, maybe anxiety or whatever it is, like, where is this coming from? Then maybe I'm just staring out the window, looking at the trees, focusing my attention on my thoughts, Maybe, the only time, this, when I'm holding my phone in my hand making a video, this is not the only time that I talk to myself. Okay? And before you judge me, okay? Talking to yourself is a very, very powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool. I was talking to my mom about this the other day. It's like meditating in your head, right? But when I'm trying to get to the bottom of something, usually a conversation with myself, the reason, the intention for this is usually it has multiple uses. Usually I'm pondering something. I'm trying to kind of figure something out. Or, like pondering, like something, like the meaning of life or whatever, whatever. So usually I'm like pondering something, or something's bothering me, and I go for a drive and I talk to myself in the car. right? And it's like a conversation. It's like I have a therapist there, except for I'm playing both roles. I'm bouncing I'm bouncing the conversation, you know, between myself and myself. You know what I mean? I'm talking to myself. But I have found that so when I do that, it helps because it's not in my head. It's not in my head. It's not, when things are in your head, when you're trying to process something in your head, um, it's it's kind of less. You kind of have less control over what's going on, unless you're like a yogi and you're like super clear and but like for most of us, like the modern man or woman, you know whoever you are, right? Usually you got a lot of stuff going on up there, and like negative thoughts, like I don't want negative thoughts. I don't want negative thoughts ever, and I don't want to fight my negative thoughts, and so sometimes, and I'm not trying to observe, sometimes I'm not trying to observe my negative thoughts. Sometimes I'm trying to follow a train of thought, and it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Sometimes I'm on a thought and I lose it. You lose your train of thought, and it's something deep and it's something profound and it's something real, and you lose it and you're like, ah, oh, shit, man. That was something good. That was a good one. And so it helps to speak, because when I'm talking, I'm in control of what I say, and I can hear my own voice. So it's like my voice is louder than my thoughts, When I'm speaking, there's no space for negativity. There's no space for negativity, right? It's like, and there's less space for distraction, a distracting thought. Sometimes if you're just thinking, all of a sudden a distractive thought, drives through your brain like a train, like a train of thought, like a negative train of thought, like a disruptive train of thought, like just crashed into the train that you were on, and you're like, come on, man. So, talking to yourself, it's actually a pretty powerful meditative tool. And there are different levels of meditation. Another level, I believe, that's very powerful. Very powerful. It doesn't require you to be sitting in full lotus position, practicing perfect yogic breathing and, perfect mental concentration and, like doing all these like yogic acrobatics or whatever, just reflection. That's it. I believe reflection is the practice of it's like reflection is the practice of receiving wisdom. Like when I reflect on my life, when I reflect on my day, when I reflect on, you know, how something made me feel, you know, I receive so much wisdom, so much wisdom. I understand things when I reflect. It brings me closer to the truth. I understand the truth, you know. Oh, why did this thing that this person said to me make me feel bad? You know, let's define bad. It made me feel disrespected. Why was that? You know, and you're reflecting and you understand, and then when you run into that scenario again later in your life, you know, this behavior makes me feel this way, this, you know, but we have to reflect. We have to reflect. Otherwise, we're not learning. Reflection is study. It's like reflection is the study of our own life. That's what it is. When we reflect, we're choosing to make the events of our lives lessons, right? That's what we're doing. We reflect, we process, we observe, just like you observe your thoughts, you know, when you're staring at the trees, right? You go back and you observe the events of your life, right? And reflection, this one I think is probably the most important meditative practice. And I think it's also the most accessible, or one of the most accessible. Like, for example, when I'm having dinner with my mom, I can reflect. Just in our conversation, I can reflect. You know, there's many different ways to reflect. We can reflect alone. We can reflect, you know, with somebody else, right? With a therapist. What is therapy? That's like literally what therapy is. You know? It's just taking time, putting time and space aside to reflect. We don't need a therapist for that. I mean, I have a therapist. I have multiple. They're very helpful, but I can also do that alone, you know? And so it's good to meditate like that, you know? Doing the dishes, that's a meditation. Just do the dishes. It's kind of similar to staring out the window. You know, I'm kind of just doing something and I'm letting my thoughts, you know, come up and everything. But I don't know. That's my take on meditation. So, yeah. Have a good day, everybody.